Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Nordic Championship here at the Monster Energy Studios. Now, we're going to go into our third game of the day. It's Hillerød taking on Team Singularity. Team Singularity have been clear-cut ahead above most of the other teams. The only other team really being up there and contesting with them are the likes of Vipers. So Hillerød currently in 4th place, 5-5. How are we feeling coming into this game?
So Hillerød won a big win streak, and then last week they weren't without their starting top laner, Lockerdon, and they fumbled. They lost 2 games that admittedly they did have good fighting chances on, and they were hard matchups. I believe it was against Dusty and Vipers, so big asks, but it ended their streak. And now they're playing against Singularity, which is another big ask for them. But Singularity have shown, again, weaknesses. We saw them against Nordic. Scood got demolished by Aesthetic in the jungle. And although I don't feel like the jungle is a big discrepancy here, where we're going to see a lot of strength from Hillerød, for me, it's been Sloth and Mokox, who have looked so good as mid and AD. Those two, even in their game up against Vipers, they look like the better AD carry in mid. And I was thinking that Demvoxne and Poulsen would be the big challenge, and they really showed their own. So I'm thinking if they set up a game where they can sort of play around getting their mid AD to the later stage of the game, use good early pressure from Flipper, have Lockerdon as an option either as a side laner who you can play around, or alternatively as a weak side player, and you get to the point where you're team fighting around this strong backline of Mokox and Sloth, I really think they can potentially take this one.
Alrighty, well, we're loading into picks and wow. We've loaded into picks and bans as the Draven and Ornn. Wow, I'm literally, my brain is shutting down mid-air.
So Singularity running with the sub. They have Vayu as AD carry and PlayStation as support. I haven't heard too much about this, so I don't think this is a tactical decision, but Rai is going to be unavailable for today, and he's had some monster performances that really carried them over the finish line. So it's going to be interesting to see what they end up running with in this situation.
So far, the AD carries have been getting pinched out. That's going to be the center ban, so we probably won't be seeing a first pick center like we did in our first 2 games of the day. Hillerød, do they want to look to try and pinch out into this AD carry pool more, or are they looking for something else kind of on that high priority? I'm going to take away the Cassiopeia from the likes of Krogson. We know he likes these control mages, the Azir, the Cassiopeia, things like the Orianna as well.
Seems interesting to me that target Vayu so heavily in this situation. I feel like potentially there could be stuff you want to deny away from Scood or Krogson, but ultimately they get rid of the Cassiopeia. Syndra down as well. A lot of these higher tier AD carries taken away, but Aphelios still open as an option if Mokox does want to pick that one up. And it looks like he does, so banning away to sort of limit the pool away from that. And now Singularity, the question is going to be what will they answer with? I often like to see these powerful sort of engaged champions with a lot of team fighting potential to punish the likes of the Aphelios with his immobility. We'll have to see. Thresh is a big one as sort of a takeaway. So obviously, if you do take that one, it sort of strengthens things like the Jarvan, because obviously you don't have that Lantern to get away from the Cataclysm.
Yeah.
And then also, if you pair the Aphelios up with the Braum, Thresh is a pretty solid matchup in that one. We're quickly going to see the Diana locked in as well. So this could go to Krogson. Could, in theory, go in the jungle for Scood, but I expect it to be in the mid lane as something that will threaten Sloth. So if Sloth does want to take sort of a ranged champion who's going to look to scale up, he has been pretty strong in the Corki. He will be challenged in that regard, but we have seen Sloth happy to go for these melee champions before, so maybe this is sort of a deny as well as a pickup for Krogson.
Bit of a gauntlet throwdown as well.
Yeah.
It's as far as when I think Krogson, I don't think picks like Diana. I don't think these melee assassins.
I think mages.
Yeah, you do, but in this case, it looks like he's really kind of challenging Sloth here. We knew Sloth actually is pretty good at this Diana. We've seen it a few times for him now. Hillerød, they've picked up the Braum to go well with that Aphelios. We know it's a matchup that works very well. It's kind of tried and tested at this point as Hillerød now. They may be looking to try and pick up a mid laner. Don't want to get something banned away from there, but actually Flipper gets his hands onto the Skarner. Team Singularity probably looking for their AD carry and then looking to pinch into the pool of those mid laners.
Yeah, so a lot of skirmishing power already for Hillerød. You have the Skarn who has that ultimate just to take someone out the fight, the Braum passive to act on top of that. So a lot of power between those two if Ermin and Flipper can pair up. Now I'll be looking towards what Singularity will answer with. Actually going for the Caitlyn, so a bit interesting. Do get buffed 10% bonus attack speed, I believe, is on 10.4, not 10.5.
I think so.
I'm pretty sure, but either
I
way,
don't know.
it's not a big difference maker. She still hasn't really reared her face in the current meta, but it's something that can handle the range of Aphelios, and you can pair it up in tandem with the Thresh to use great use of the traps. It is pretty hard for the Skarner to really get on top of you when you have the net to apply the slow and also the traps, but ultimately not something we typically see. Overall, this draft for Singularity isn't sort of what you typically expect from them, other than the Thresh for PlayStation, but we'll have to see how things ban out. LeBlanc could be banned away from Sloth as something that could withstand the pressure of the Diana pretty formidably with that extra range advantage. And Hillerød, they're going to target the junglers, so Olaf's definitely one to take away from Scoot. You could potentially look towards the Trundle. I know when Trundle was first brought into the jungle, it was specifically to go up against Skarner and Olaf, as it was a good answer there. We'll have to see, because to me, Scoot, really, I don't think you would go towards a Trundle in this matchup. If they want to target him more, there's a Lee Sin as an option, although you can kind of shut him down in terms of setting up plays.
Pretty typical ban there as well. I was expecting to see a Zoe. You pick away the two safe picks in the mid lane, denying those, and now... What are Hillerød going to ban away? Are they going to ban away that Trundle? Maybe they're going to go towards, you know, some of those more meta junglers we've been seeing, the likes of the Lee Sin and stuff like that as well. So kind of these early game aggressive junglers. They take away the Gangplank. It's a solid blind pick. And Nilly, one of the things he's so good at doing is absorbing pressure and just actually turning it on its head. I
feel like for me, going back to the jungle point, there's so many junglers that you could possibly ban here. I don't think it's a good one to expend a second. Olaf is a big problem. You take away the GP. And the question is, are they going to try and keep this down as a potential flex? And I think they're going to. So they're going to go for this set. Right. Put the set in the top lane. And we still don't know, because we're assuming it's going to be a mid lane Diana, but we don't know that for sure. So that's going to be the big question mark. Whether they're just going to put that in the mid for Krogsson, which is what we expected, or move it into the jungle. Ultimately, it feels a little bit weird to me to be saving last pick for jungle, unless this is a Diana you already plan to use in that regard. And Hillerød, so playing with what they're going to do. I'm actually going for a Garen in the top lane. So Garen had some changes. I looked down
for like 2 seconds and Garen gets locked in.
So he's had some changes a few patches ago that make him pretty strong in the terms of top laning. They gave him some buffs to the AD ratio on the Q. And obviously he actually is in a much better place than he did used to be after they had those sort of overall changes to him, the quality of life ones, where Conquest stacks up when you're spinning around. So I'll be interested to see how this plays out into the set. And the Karma coming in the mid lane definitely gives a lot of sort of movement speed to this composition of Hillerød. It gives protection to Mokox. So this is very much going to be a protect the Mokox, use our movement speed to facilitate engage, to sort of rush towards Singularity. And the question is going to be, what do they round out with? And is it going to be a Diana in the mid lane or the jungle?
Running that clock down here, as it looks like they are going to stay on the clock, man. So Krogsson, we didn't think he was much of a Diana player, and he's not. He's going to be locking in himself the Zillion. So actually a fairly kind of chill mid lane. Two kind of supportive mid laners who have relative poke and wave clear, just going to sit and farm away. Now, Diana jungle, what are we making of this? Because obviously, with the rework to her, we did start to see her pop up more regularly in the jungle.
Did get some changes on 10.4.
Yes, it was this patch they changed it.
So the jungle changes a little bit for faster clear. I feel like it's better at ganking now that we've had the rework Diana, because you have your dash available as early as level 3 or even sooner. Ultimately, good skirmishing power, because obviously you have that shield available to you. Your ult can be really powerful if you're diving the backline. But it's going to struggle in the mid game. I think the mid game for Hillerød is super strong because you have so much bulk in the Garen and the Skarner, and then you have all the shielding for the Karma. Hit damage is still relevant. When it gets to the later stages, my concern is if Mokox gets threatened, he will struggle. If he gets jumped on, if he gets dived on by the Diana, the set, ulted into the enemy team, it's going to be difficult. But I feel like mid game, it's going to be really hard for the Diana to really do anything against this composition, unless you're already ahead. If you're ahead, it's a different story because you have the Zillion to back you up. You can dive in, you can get ulted, you can revive, you have the follow-up from your team. I think very much early skirmishes may well be the deciding point, and for me, that favors Hillerød. But as we get later into the game, I feel like Singularity may well just pull ahead if they're not super behind, just because having a Caitlyn, having a Zillion, it makes zone control so easy to do. And it's going to come to the point where Skarner tries to look for an engage. He's slowed down by 99%. double bombed. He just gets beaten up.
I'm glad you brought up the Caitlyn as well, because I did want to talk about this Caitlyn matchup, because we've seen a lot of things kind of answered in to the likes of this Aphelios, and we haven't really seen Caitlyn come up too much. How does this kind of work out? Obviously, I know Caitlyn has pretty solid range, but as we kind of go into the scaling aspects of in an isolated environment between these AD carries, what are you looking at here? What do you think we're going to see?
I mean, to me, Caitlyn obviously has great zone control, sort of weaving in the traps, but your laning phase isn't going to be that great into the Aphelios because, yes, you have priority, which is nice, but he's going to be able to match your range with Calibrum, and he's going to be able to sort of sustain against your harass with the Severum. So there's that sort of limitation. Late in the game, Aphelios has more DPS and more versatility. There's so much power in that champion's kit. He scales extremely well. But the Caitlyn has the advantage is that she's a bit harder to pin down because she has that little bit of mobility with the 90 caliber net, and also the sort of range that she's able to assist a team with. In fairness, I feel like Aphelios has that too with his ultimate available to him. In all honesty, I feel like Aphelios is just a better Caitlyn, but there are a lot of AD carry bans that came out, and obviously Vayu isn't the normal AD carry for Singularity, so going a bit more towards comfort rather than necessarily what would be optimal in this situation. Because to me, if this is right, I'd probably just pick Ezreal because he just picks Ezreal and just wins.
Yeah.
From what we've seen so far. So a little bit more player preference here. Now, looking to potentially challenge on this level 1. I feel like Caitlyn Thresh definitely favored in this situation with the range advantage, but PlayStation stepping up really far there.
Yeah, not if you get yourself stunned up there by the concussive blows in PlayStation. Not going to burn any potions yet, but they just get a big old chunk thrown onto him.
Had his feelings hurt in that situation, but still, they're going to have the priority. A lot of damage was focused from Hillerød onto PlayStation, whereas Vayu was hitting the minions, so they'll get the advantage level 1. But before the next wave comes in, Eamon and Mokox should be able to push this up. I think they're fine with the wave in this position, frozen for the tower, because even if level 2's hit, they can't really be threatened too much when they have the safety available to them off the tower.
And now level 2 has been hit here for the side of Singularity. Looking for that hook. Does actually find it. Gets the trap out as well. That's a lot of damage. Mox has to heal and flash away.
You know, ignore what I said. Towers don't offer any safety when PlayStation hits a hook. Perfect trap combo from Vayu. And he just burst him out. Eamon didn't have any shielding to offer there with the Unbreakable. Mokox already down both summoners. This is not a good start.
Yeah, very, very rough start. Now, tracking the junglers, you can see the Flipper is on this side of the map, just doing himself a full red side clear. Scoot is also hot side. He's cleared out his top side. Obviously, Diana very fast at clearing, especially since the changes on 10-4, but even with the rework.
Skarner.
Same for Skarner, you are correct.
But Skarner has actually skipped out his blue, so he's going to reset, head over towards that top side. Hasn't actually gone for the boots, so doesn't have Predator available. So suggests to me that he's still looking to farm a little bit more. And he's going to path towards that top side scuttle.
Meanwhile, Scoot's going to pick up the crab. Base has come through. Looks like he just buys himself a Fairy Charm and a pair of boots on this base. Double Dorans for Mokox, though.
Needs
So a bit more trading power.
The sustain as well is a big factor. You get chunked out by the Caitlyn. Obviously, Severum won't have too many charges left available, so that extra lifesteal comes in pretty clutch. Scoot actually gone pretty aggressive here, but he won't find anything on this side of the jungle. It's all being cleared out. And Eamon walked from base, then recalled and grabbed both boots. So a little bit of an interesting one. One of that extra movement speed. I think the big factor was seeing that he wasn't really needed in lane because it was shoved in. Scoot waiting a long time for these Raptors, but ultimately Flipper not going to come bot side of challenge, so he gets these off for free. And so far this game been pretty slow, but a big CS discrepancy built up between AD carries. And this is one of the strengths of Caitlyn, having that priority. If you do land that combo and punish Aphelios really heavily, there's so much potential available to punish. And I think it's just a misstep from Mokox, getting caught out by the hook. When you're under tower, you had no reason really to step up that far, and it's kind of put them on a massive sort of back foot for the entire laning phase from here on out.
So you're going to push this wave in as well. Scoot's gone to base. Let's spend some gold. Picked up his red smite already, along with a pair of boots. So Flipper a little bit slower to the punch. Obviously, did go for an earlier reset and just look to farm up a little bit more. Vayu playing with these boots, kind of pretty confident to be able to step up. Says Mokox and Irvin don't have the damage to really kill him here as Nilly going for a fight versus Lockeden.
The big factor as well is that you have the Lantern in theory available to you. So it's in the fog of war. You don't know if Thresh is there. You go for an engage. Vayu gets Lantern. They then engage on you. You've been in a really bad spot. And Lockeden has Ignite available. Could be a big factor at level 6, but for now, nothing really come from it. Although he is up in items. Managed to retain CS despite having reset.
Ooh, a spot out Flipper here. Does get himself a bit of a slow off, but
P6 can't offer too much on the Skarner.
yeah, and also no Predator boots as well, so really doesn't offer anything at the moment. Very quite comfortable just to walk away here. As Scoot looking to start up what looks like he may start up the Dragon, but decides to back away. Nope, he's going to start it up here. We haven't really seen too much action towards topside, really. It's been a bit quieter. We've been kind of paying attention a lot more towards the bot lane, Vayu and PlayStation. Let's talk about top lane. So what's going on? Because both of these top laners do have a fair amount of sustain built into them because of their passives and the healing they have.
So I think a big factor here is that the Garen has a silence available to him. If you use that on Nilly, he obviously can't use his Haymaker. Can't get that shield, can't trade it around. Garen also has quite a bit of mobility to play around it. And I think the Ignite is essentially he's looking for kill pressure in the 1v1. And there is potential for it. But the problem is you no longer have TP available, so that at some point it's going to be Karma sitting in the side lane, which you don't ideally want. And as of yet, nothing's really come from this side lane pressure. And you can see Lockeden is fine to go for this silence and then spin round on him, but you're not actually doing that much damage to the set.
Yeah, set's pretty comfortable here. Now fighting inside the minion wave, but
and he can still auto-attack you back. You know? It stops him from using his Haymaker, but...
Oh, good hook by PlayStation. Great wall gets thrown up, though, and Vayu now has to be careful, flashes away, because he doesn't want to get stunned up, and PlayStation, he's going to take a lot of damage as well.
Big difference there was Unbreakable. Min pushes forward with it, and they instantly recognize they have to back away. Crescendum there. Starts stacking up on Vayu, and they end up trading up in summoners despite the hook from PlayStation. So showing how scary Affiliates can be.
Really doing pretty decent work here versus Lockeden now.
Beating him up.
That's the Unbreakable use this time. They get themselves the stun of the Ignite. Mokox is chasing on the PlayStation. Finds himself first blood. Vayu looks to jump away as Flipper's closing in. He's got the Preds on, and it's a double kill for Mox.
This weapon combo, the Crescendum and the Severum, you can stack it up so fast, have all those Chakram available, and the DPS is insane. Paired up with a Braum, really easy to win out in these skirmishes. Vayu and PlayStation just overstepping and get crushed, and now Dai potentially coming in onto Lockeden.
Yeah, they're going to use the Showstopper. They've got the Moonfall as well. The Haymaker's been used, followed up by the ultimate. The tower shot's not enough to kill anybody here.
So
very
low.
Close.
Didn't even use the ult from Scoot is a critical thing for me. A lot of confidence not to throw that one down, but ultimately they take out the Garen, burn his Ignite as well, no TP from him to get back up to the wave, and just a huge success. His Garen pick not really doing too much so far. I believe Aatrox was available as an option if Lockeden wanted to take that one as the typical answer into the set. So a bit of an interesting one to me to see this Ignite Garen come out, but ultimately nothing too much come from it so far.
Well, the gold lead is minimal right now. Croxon pushing in this mid lane. He's down in CS to Sloth at the moment. Down in gold to Sloth as well. Vayu just looking to get himself some free tower plating here. We'll be able to pick up some plates for himself. PlayStation has Demolish as well to use. But already we're seeing a bit of a switch come out here. PlayStation throws out the hook.
That is the
tenacity is just disgusting.
Yeah, you pop your W, your courage. Hook just doesn't even last long enough to get the follow-up. But we are seeing the switch, so with Dragon down, a lot of teams like to move towards the top side of the map, prioritize the Herald there. The trade-off is that you leave your tower alone, and Vayu and PlayStation are getting a lot of plating in this situation. Lockeden not feeling too comfortable to step up. And that's the big difference, is that a Herald leads to plates.
Scoot's on the flank here. Might have to hold forts here for the moment. Nilly charging up on his ultimate. Flipper starting up the Herald. Singularity, it's looking like they may just have to back down here, losing out on both fronts.
I mean, this is the thing, is that the Herald can give plates, but if you're just losing a tower for it, it's not really super worth. They will get one in the top lane, but Scoot is potentially looking. If Nilly finds a stun, he has his ult now available.
He jumps in, gets the moonfall off onto 2. They've got that showstopper now available. Ermin's putting out the ultimate for the moment. Down comes the damage, and the Haymaker is enough. Ermin is going to go golden, trying to buy some time, but Nilly, he's going to get himself impressed and pulled back, but they're now chasing on for more. Good slow by Ermin means that nobody's going to flash forward. Actually, as Flipper jumps in, Haymaker's been thrown down. Scoot looks to chase up, gets himself a flashback onto him, and Flipper turns it around. Meanwhile, Hook lands onto Lockerdon, but courage is big. Vice should find himself first turret blood. Gets a lot of damage onto Lockerdon as well in return here. Singularity. They get themselves a kill onto 1 as that's the ace in the hole.
Wait, and how?
A lot of actions breaking out.
Croxon has ult. What is going on this game, honestly? I mean, Lockerdon on the Garen Ignite top just dies. You have to respect the fact that Caitlyn can and will press R. And then mid lane, Croxon has ult.
Ooh.
Oh, he had no mana.
That's going to follow him all the way up.
Okay, I watched back. Croxon had no mana when he died. So I guess that's how it happened. That's not really a good excuse.
Teleport's coming in here. It looks like it's just Croxon making his way back towards the lane.
The walk of shame.
The walk of shame. He's got himself his GLP now. As the Cloud Strike will be spawning up nice and soon. Scoot is looking to make something happen here, but Rift Herald's been using this. Should just be the turret picked up for the side of Hillerød on the bot side.
It's not the first tower, and that's the sort of issue is that the trade-off here isn't too great because you sacrifice your own bot tower in return for this. Dragon's now up though, and that is potentially going to be something prioritized, but no flash, no impale from Flipper.
PlayStation looking for that hook. Doesn't find it. Needs to be a little careful here. Bombs get thrown out by Croxon just for a little bit of zoning. 4 members of Singularity are grouped up here in this river.
And Hillerød can't fight this. Because the big difference here is that one of the top laners has TP and the others doesn't. Now, Lockerdon has found an opportunity to roam, so this suggests to me that they are potentially looking to do it. They need their top laner to be here. Now the question is going to be, do Singularity contest, or do they take the advantages of Nilly being 1v0 in the top lane? And I think from the pathing of Scoot moving towards the top side, they're not too concerned about a Cloud Dragon. They will take the plates.
Yeah, looks like they're more concerned about getting gold onto Nilly. He's ahead in lane versus Lockerdon, looking to get even further ahead of Cloud Drake. Not really too much to worry about. And this just means they can get more Infernals.
Exactly. That was the
it was actually such a big IQ play here. Croxon speeds himself up.
So they get the Drake to equalize, but it's not going to be offer too much. Gold lead is in favor of Singularity despite the kill score being in the other direction. Would like to have a take a look at the gold and see exactly where that lies. And I think the big difference is top lane, 1200 there. You see some back and forth. Mid jungle ahead for Hillerød, and then a 600 lead for Vayu. But now double bomb coming in, but it's just 2 separate bombs.
Does a fair amount of damage to Sloth though. As Vayu
GLP gives quite a lot of AP considering how cheap it is.
Yeah, it really does. You see Vayu's built himself the Zeal and the Buildings of an Infinity Edge, wanted that extra attack speed, and it gives the same amount of crit chance as the Agility Cloak. Just means obviously your item's going to be a little bit slower, but Glacial Fish has been used here. PlayStation really over-eager. Scoot runs in with a Moonfall, jumps onto Mox. The trap has been used, and Mox, he finds himself a double kill. Nearly jumps in forward, gets himself one in return, as that's going to be the showstopper onto Ermin. Vayu jumps up, and he gets himself that kill. Flipper now taking some serious damage from the Caitlyn.
And it feels like they're going to lose a tower here, but it's still a really aggressive play from Singularity that somehow Hillerød managed to answer. Mokok's coming up huge there. The Crescendum in tandem with the Braum passive, just doing a monster amount of work and able to cut through 2 members quickly there, PlayStation and Scoot. Because I need Commerce moving up.
Has been used. They've got Sloth closing in. Vayu needs to be very careful. That impales up, but 90 caliber net puts some distance between them, and Turret will hold its life now because of that play.
Yeah, and Lockerdon able to have some alone time bot lane to catch up in terms of farm, so there is that trade-off. But I think this is showing how strong an Aphelios can be, and that's without the Karma there. And that's the big sort of thing to be concerned about, is that if Karma joins in, it's going to be even more favored towards having this hyper carry Aphelios just popping off. They need to shut him down, and that's going to be the problem.
Croxton's going to use the bombs just to clear out the wave. Building towards his spooky ghost is his next item as Vi going to catch his top lane. Wants to try and crack open this last side lane turret. Should actually be able to do it if no one comes to respond. And they've also got that Rift Herald spawning up relatively quickly as well. Nilly's going to catch the wave from the bot side. He's got his Triforce now, locking in. I think just trying to farm out these Krugs so he can get as close as possible to it. Mokox. See how much damage that bomb does. Does a fair amount. Actually takes about a third of his health as the Impale comes out. They're going to get a lot of damage off here. Vio has to use the 92 caliber net. Gets the Lantern, but not enough. Sloth snipes him with the Q.
That Luden's damage coming in huge, but Ermin, he's looking. PlayStation, no flash.
Yeah, they get themselves the pick off onto 2 there with the Fisher. Crogson's going to keep him alive with the revive. But actually, PlayStation, they just don't kill him, and now they look to turn it around. Nilly's jumping in, gets himself the showstopper off of the Mokox. The Haymaker goes a little bit wide. Heals fairly big. Scoot needs to jump in, gets himself a 3-man moonfall as the bombs are going to pop. The members are going to pop. And Crogson answers back out with the help of Scoot. A double kill onto the Diana, and Sloth will go pop. A double kill for Crogson. A massive answer out there for Singularity. But again, Hillerød just keep finding these openings.
It's just a huge play there from Scoot, though, to turn that one around. The skirmishing power of the Karma in tandem with the Skarner just really hard to shut down. Now look at him, he's looking for Crogson, but unable to do anything. And picture, if you can for me, Jake, that same fight, but there was an Aatrox TPing in, turning up.
Yeah.
Imagine how different that could have been.
I mean, look at it, did have teleport on the Garen, but he didn't feel comfortable enough on that champion to be able to kind of pull that off. Because Garen, he's not really known for his team fighting.
I mean, you just TP in the backline, you press R on someone. Just to me, it feels like the Ignite, a little bit greedy, hasn't really paid off. And him being there in that fight could have been a massive difference maker. Now, do you see it? 2,500 gold lead for Singularity, so a pretty significant one. You can see the individual numbers. We saw Flipper being ahead in the jungle. That is no longer the case by a large margin. The only one maintaining the lead, really, is Mokox, and I guess Ermin too. But it's getting a little bit rough, because when a Zillion is ahead, you think about this, there is 7,000 gold on Scoot, so Zillion is able to revive that. When you're behind, it doesn't feel very good to sort of revive someone who's not very strong. But that Diana absolutely is.
Ooh, Flipper gets hooked. Get the flay back. They're trying to find him onto the trap. Scoot jumps onto Mokox on the backline. A massive amount of burst as that's the shutdown. Lily gets suppressed, revived, and the hook comes down into a 2-man play. Locking it onto the backline though. However, the health bars are low. It's a triple kill for Mokox already. He does not have that moonfall, and Vio and Crogson are just too weak to deal with this.
He's invincible if you don't kill him. The healing that comes out, those 2 items in tandem, the Severum, the Crescendum, the sustain and the just raw DPS in tandem with the Braum is just insane. You have to kill Mokox or you will lose for Singularity. And now that he's 8-3 off the back of that, it's looking so rough. He's going to be able to recall, potentially just pick up a whole Infinity Edge off the back of that one, and they pick up their second Dragon. 4% AD and AP, not the hugest amount, but definitely nice. But it's working towards that soul. And the gold lead we just talked about, 2,500, not even 1,000 now. And he actually just picks up the full Runan, so not able to get the full Infinity Edge, but still a big item spike for himself.
Yeah, it means there's a lot of wave kill, AoE damage in these team fights as well. He's going to be a real nuisance. Nilly and Scoot both tried to jump onto him, but it's just so hard to cut through him with that Karma.
The critical thing is it wasn't in tandem.
Yes.
And he was able to heal up, buy space, get the peel, get the frequent Braum passives down. It's getting a little bit concerning now for Singularity. They still have strong components in the later stages of the game, and there will come a point where the Garen, the Skarner do start to feel less impactful, less bulky, because right now the Skarner is pretty hard to cut through. But this Aphelios is going to keep scaling. And no one's paid the QSS tax yet, which means Flipper's still getting really high effectiveness out of that Impale.
Rapid fire cannon now finished off into Vi, so has a little bit of additional range to work with. The Spoopy Ghost has been sent out, and now Flipper looking to jump in forward, just threatening the dive as the bomb is there for a bit of wave clear. Now everybody is sent up to try and keep this tower alive, and look at the damage that Mokox is able to do.
Seen a Leandri's come out from Scoot. Obviously, when you go for the engage, by the time you Moonlight, you do have a couple of Madness stacks, but I'm not sure I agree with this one because your main criteria is killing Mokox. And against him, I feel like the raw pen from Oblivion Orb would be better if you're going for raw damage. Even the Morellonomicon to cut down the healing from Athene's and from his Severum and his Conqueror could be big factors. But ultimately, I feel like the Andrews, if you're hitting the front line more, sure. But I feel like in terms of blowing up Mokox, maybe not the most optimal thing. And if he does survive, I mean, obviously you get the ticking damage, but ticking damage is not what you need when you're up against an AD carry who's potentially going to lifesteal up.
Well, now, just every time he gets the rapid fire cannon stacks, tries to find it. Spooky goes to land onto Mokox, but Flipper's just a big zoning tool. The bombs do get thrown down. Hook comes out. They do get the Moonlight onto multiple members here. Mokox needs to be a little careful, though. Still separated from his team. A lot of damage thrown out onto a couple of members, and everybody's sent packing as Nilly now looking for Lockerdon. Lockerdon's just able to press the Q and head towards his minions and towards his tower.
Still looking for something. Mokox actually gets zoned out, so they should be able to get the tower here. Just because of that path thing, he ended up being forced to take. But the answer is top lane tower for Sloth. So I will value mid more because of its place on the map. But in terms of gold, the trading will be even, and the structure's at the top. But it's still 1,000 gold lead for Singularity. It's Phelios. Definitely in a scary position to be going up against. With the Karma now, has the Athenes and the Lodge Rod to offer that shielding, that protection. The more AP she gets, the bulkier those shields will be. And still putting out a formidable lot of damage at this point. If you land that Mantrid Q onto
this tower's dead.
Yep.
Just the Phelios thing. It's totally balanced.
200 years worth of balance.
Vi did go back and get his boots, though, so... Not able to hold the turret, but at least has a bit more movement speed, a bit more attack speed to work with. Curious to see what the next item is for Vayu. Is he going to pay that QSS tax now? Or do you think he really wants to try and just keep ahead of the curve versus Mokox?
He hasn't really been threatened. I feel like if anyone was to get a QSS, it's sort of more on Krogson because he's potentially going to get ulted so he can't use his. Maybe Scood or Nilly who are diving.
Yeah, he's building towards it.
But I haven't seen Vayu be threatened yet.
Ooh, that's threatening.
That's definitely threatening on the Vayu, but that's not something QSS will really stop other than reducing the damage a little bit. Vayu does have the Bloodline, Legend Bloodline, so you'll be able to heal up. Dragon Spawn in 30, another Infernal, and it put Hillerød on Soul Point. We saw how threatening that was last game when you end up having to contest every dragon, and if it goes wrong, if you even win the fight, but you lose to Smite, that's soul to the enemy team.
They're looking for Lockerdon here.
Oh, has to flash.
That's pretty big. Means he's not able to like, flash Judgment anyone in this next fight. Infernal spawning up in 7 seconds time. Scood and Nilly. It's on them to perfectly land their ultimates. As Flipper just flashes in forwards. He's looking for one already. They've got themselves the Chrono Shift. It's not even going to be used in time. And you can see a double kill already picked up. A 4-man ultimate comes out by Scood, but it's just a turnaround. A quadra kill to Mokox. And Hillerød are just annihilating Singularity right now.
And the QSS has now been bought by Krogson, but it's way too late. A perfect CC chain to stop him from using the Chrono Shift. Singularity overstep, they lose a Zillion, and they lose everything from there. Lockerdon is just going to solo the Dragon while the rest of the team take the Baron in no time at all, with the Crescendum still available for the Aphelios. And at this point, it feels so difficult to come back into this game. They get the third Dragon, they get the Baron, and this Aphelios, so strong. I think he's actually gone for the QSS, so I was thinking he maybe will be able to buy a full Infinity Edge, but he's not that greedy. Rest in peace.
That's good. A fair amount of damage. He's slowing him down for a lot here. Guess the Spooky Ghost out and another bomb. Yeah, look at him. You're doomed.
He's the sacrifice.
Clockman's here.
Now this is a less greedy AD carry than you would typically see. So Mokox understands that he is the critical member, and instead of going for a straight Infinity Edge, he gets a BF sure, but then the Hex Drink and the QSS. He wants to survive. He's already doing plenty of damage. Does obviously remove that triple core we typically see, which is the Essence Reaver, Runans, and the Infinity Edge. At the end of the day, you don't do any damage if you're dead.
That is true, my dude. That is
wise words. Rabadon's nearly completed for Sloth, and this is what we expected. I was talking about Mokox being such a huge backline threat. Typically, we saw Sloth earlier in the split fulfill a role where he's playing a melee diver, and now he's made this transition where he is more willing to play these backline carries. In this case, it's not a primary carry in the Karma, it's a supportive carry who still obviously offers a ton to the team and is a squishy who you need to keep alive, but critically it's making Mokox super strong. And he had a great game against Vipers, even though they didn't ultimately win it. And we're seeing him sort of deliver in this situation against Singularity. And this is a big hit to Singularity because it'll potentially lose them first place this week, but also Hillerød getting a point when they need it the most.
Well, they're looking for it, but the bombs only land onto Flipper, and Flipper not going to take too much damage here. You can see the tax getting paid. Vayu gets himself the QSS as Lockenden dodged around the hook. The Chrono Shift has already been used by Croxon as he throws out a double bomb. Moonlight Vigil does land on a couple of members. There's a lot of damage as Mokox just flashes in forward, finds himself the kill. The Haymaker's big, followed up by the hooks. Vayu just free firing away on the backline, but a double kill's already been picked up on the side of Mokox.
He's not dying.
He is just cutting through everyone. A triple kill for him. Make it the no Sloth steals the Quadra. That's the flash away from Vayu. And oh my lord, Mokox is just doing God's work right now.
Just a front line of Phelios, tanking all that damage, healing it up. He's got the Severin Crescendum again, so he's going to turn that turret into paper. And Singularity, it just feels like there's nothing you can do.
There is nothing they can do here. In their team fight, Vayu was auto-attacking freely, untouched. Meanwhile, Mokox is in the middle of 4,
Look at him.
just murdering people. Vayu has to run to his tower, has to burn his flash. And this game is feeling so rough right now for Singularity.
And I got to give credit to Sloth as well. Flash still up, nothing used, just permanently shielding on rotation, and that's what kept Mokox able to play so aggressive and not be punished. These two, Sloth and Mokox, are just such a strong combo between them. They are so good as backline carries. And I think this is how Hillerød can really start to challenge these top teams, because when you have these two just sitting back, pumping out damage in a fight, it just feels like they're unstoppable. And we can have a look at the gold. We're now seeing a 2,000 difference between mid laners, so that's more items to facilitate Mokox, but the AD carry difference is the big one. He's at almost 15,000 now. And I believe he's recalled, so if you can fly back to the items, I think he'll have finished that Infinity Edge.
Yeah.
Yes, he has.
Oh boy, this is gonna hurt.
It's just feeling over. The fact that they grabbed Croxon, he QSS'd, he ulted, and he still just dies immediately after. The fact that Mokox can flash in, get ulted by Nilly, and still survive. It's a nightmare for some people, but right now for Hillerød, it's just some good League of Legends.
Some crisp League of Legends here. Remember, this is our first seed versus our 4th seed as well. It's one of those things you were talking about, Orcs. Every team can beat every team here in the Nordic Championship, and it makes for some such exciting games.
The big thing is Hillerød won a massive win streak, and then when Lockeden wasn't here, they lost 0-2. And now he's back. You can clearly see what a massive factor he is on his top lane Ignite Garen.
1 and 4, really putting in the work, soaking pressure.
It's the morale, right? The morale is there. And it's coming in big. But right now, Dragon Spawn in 30. That's another Infernal Soul. In case you thought Mokox wasn't doing enough damage, we're happy to add some more. And Singularity, in all honesty, I don't think you can really challenge this. I think they might have to. They might try. Goodbye.
Flipper just flashes him forward. PlayStation uses the QSS, throws out a hook. Bombs are going down as that's a big ultimate getting thrown down by Mokox onto PlayStation. Instantly, Scoot jumps in, tries to get himself the Moonfall. Lockeden can't quite find his opening into the fight, but nearly jumps into that backline. Mokox trying to pump some damage out, but it looks like they're just buying some more time as Lockeden coming in forward here. Gets flayed back. Ermin misses out on the Winter's Bite, but a big old Q is going to secure Flipper that kill.
Just head straight back over the Baron. Vayu down, PlayStation down. They could possibly even end off that, but they're not going to go for it.
PlayStation 0-7 on his signature champion.
It's a little bit rough. He had the QSS, but what can you do here, in all honesty, other than sit in your fountain?
Sit in your fountain.
Yeah, there you go.
Looks better on the stats.
And the thing is, when we look at gold, they're 6,000 up. They now have the triple. But on top of that, bear in mind that Singularity have had the mid lane and the AD have to buy QSSs here. So that's 1,300 gold just thrown away, essentially, just to mitigate Skarner. And you add on the 12% AD and AP and the Infernal Soul actual damage. Elixir Wrath now being picked up for Mokox. I think he knows this next fight going to be the last one. Baron is up and on the table. Hillerød feeling extremely strong.
He's got an entire item over Vayu.
Yeah.
That's what's disgusting here.
But it's just like, it's not even that. It's the fact it's Aphelios. Aphelios versus Caitlyn, it's a no-brainer. And especially with the Karma in a position above, with now the Rabadons for this huge shielding. I don't know. I don't see an angle where they kill Mokox. The damage isn't there. Who on Singularity has the damage? They need a pick, and they're looking for it now.
Yeah,
Sloth might be in trouble.
Does need to be a little careful here. So take a little bit of damage by pumping some out, but in comes the Moonlight Vigil for a bit of burst. Sloth may just have to give his life up, but he is not dying yet. Mokox finds himself a kill on the PlayStation. Meanwhile, look at him.
There we go.
That's the Garen pick we wanted to see. He's just pushing away in the side lanes. Flipper finds himself an Impale. Another kill should be picked up here for Mokox. The Scood will fall down. Mokox is legendary right now. Baron Nashor is going to get started up, and Sloth just teleports back in to make sure they get this. Lockeden, this game's really been all about him, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. Him on this Garen,
Absolutely.
just been playing some stellar League of Legends, takes himself an inhibitor.
I think he's changing top lane for all of us. He's showing you don't need teleport. You don't need to be with your team.
You don't need Janna, you don't need Sona, you don't need Soraka, you need Garen. Let's go back to basics. Let's go back to tutorial level play here.
The fact is, right, he took that inhibitor solo. Mokox needs his whole team there to take an inhibitor. And that inhibitor's respawn. So, good job, Mokox. You didn't really contribute.
Yeah, well done, you big nerd. Joking aside, it looks like they're going to try and pressure up onto this top side of the map here. Mokox has flash and has R.
That's the counterplay, though. He tried to Q the tower, and the minions were in the way. So you just need to throw minions at him.
There we go.
Gonna push up. Pressure from the bot wave in terms of super minions. Pressure from mid from the Garen. Mokox playing with fire a bit, and those traps will mitigate their ability to push forward. Are you?
Oh my lord, that's so scary.
I'm getting nervous.
That's like, you know when you like stand on like a high place and you like look over the edge and you get that weird feeling in your like your stomach? That's basically what I just got.
Then you do a handstand.
That's pretty much what Vayu just did. 2 bombs do land onto Mokox, but the shielding
they nearly break his shield from the server room. I'm not even sure if Sloth even bothered shielding him, but ultimately not a ton of damage from the glacial items plus QSS and then the double large rod Zillion. And now this mid inhibitor is probably just going to go down the minions. Actually looking to push up and defend, as there's a little bit of reprieve in the top lane, but not anymore because Mokox stepping up.
Mokox is just going to melt that. Oh my god.
He's just tanking it.
What is that? That looks like it's the end of someone already. Is the initiative being used? Mokox is actually just focusing out the turret for the moment.
They got the
Nearly
Garen.
Jumps in, does actually get himself a kill onto Lockett, and the carry is down! The fight was over! And Hillerød have to run with their tail between their legs. Oh wait, no they don't. Mokox is here, and he's looking for Nilly. Throws out the Moonlight Vigil.
Yeah,
misses it.
They nerfed the range on that. You gotta read the patch notes.
Nilly's just giving them the old chaserino.
I see. Mokox gonna recall and run from base to get... No. They're giving up on that
one. The carry died, so they had to back away. They recognized Garen's death.
Without the Garen, ultimately the team falls apart. But ultimately, 3 inhibitors down. Singularity are essentially just sitting in the base. There's a minute 30 on this Elder Dragon.
Oh my lord.
And you thought that damage was big before. It's gonna be even bigger. But consolation, okay? Rabadons for Krogson.
Can he one-shot Mokox now?
No. He's got more
don't think it's a consolation
well.
then. How about Scood? Can he one-shot Mokox now?
I think if they all hit him at the same time and Sloth DCs, yes.
Flipper's looking for something onto PlayStation. Predator runs out, decides not to go for the Impale.
PSS, so we weren't really going to find anything there. Oh, look. Oh.
He didn't even break the shield.
He hit his feelings, though.
I don't know if he did. Flipper flashes in forwards, though. Actually, just chunking him away. Chrono Shift's going to get used here. Lockerdon's making his way forward. In comes the carry, baby. Down goes the ultimate. Look at the damage they are doing. Viper's running down. Justice will secure the kill. And the carry is here, boys. Lockerdon's looking to tidy up as there's a double kill for Sloth. Mockcock's just pumping the damage out as Nilly is buying some time, but he's not buying enough. Clockman goes down. It's a triple kill over to the side to Sloth. And Hillerød, 35 minutes on the clock. They're going to take out the Nexus and take out Singularity. Vipers are a hair's breadth away from first place here in the Nordic Championship.
Yeah, it's a big win for Vipers, even though they weren't playing. But Hillerød, they had a rough week for week 5 when they went 0-2 without Lockerdon. Lockerdon comes back, picks the Garen Ignite top, and it's the driving force in their victory. Not really, but to a degree. The ultimate thing was that Mockcock's looking like a monster on these backline carries. They first pick the Aphelios for him, and he delivers. They have the CC around him to facilitate him in the team fights, the Braum, the Skarner, and Sloth, again, this Karma just felt really hard to punish in any sort of magnitude and gave that shielding over. And yes, you can definitely make the argument Singularity not in their full strength, not running with Rai, who's a massive factor in this team performing, but ultimately it's a good omen for Hillerød, despite the fact this isn't a full force Singularity. And the big takeaway is they got the win. They need these wins because although they are currently ranked 4th, it is very fickle and they will not remain there if they don't keep racking up wins. They're the one closest to getting knocked down and someone taking their spot, especially with the likes of Nordic potentially looking to challenge. So good win, good performance, and them bouncing back from their 0-2 week.
Yeah, solid game overall there for the side of Hillerød, being able to take out Singularity. Singularity starting to crumble a little bit. Maybe it is off the back that, you know, they haven't got their main carry here with them, but we'll have to see how they perform tomorrow. Singularity will be taking on Bifrost, who have actually beat them previously as well. Bifrost been a little bit more coin flippy, though, throughout the season, so we'll have to see whether or not they got themselves together for that game.
I think at the start of the split, Bifrost were like this wildcard team who could just take anyone out, including themselves, but now it just feels like
I think just take themselves out.
They're on a really rough losing streak, and it's disheartening because we saw in that last game, despite Dusty being super strong, like there was definitely hope.
Yeah,
but I just don't see it right now unless they can really revamp things.
Well, solid game there, as unfortunately for our top team, their Team Singularity do fall, and Hillerød are able to find themselves a win. We still got one more game to go here at the Nordic Championship, though, so don't go anywhere, because after the break, we got Vipers taking on Hybrid.